Hi guys, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. This is a truly wonderful game if you like space, and well, if you like realistic space, and it may not look it, you're looking at the little tiny green men there, but this is a seriously hardcore simulation of space flight for people who are very interested in genuine space flight and sort of, you know, NASA and Apollo, and you know, it's not that realistic, but it's pretty challenging, and well, I'm just going to get stuck in it because this I've been playing for quite some time in its beta form, and it's only just recently hit version 1.0 and gone full release. So we're going to start a new career and see how far we get. So yeah, welcome to Kerbals. Let's go to settings first of all and just check a few things, because a few things may have changed. Yeah. All looks good to me. Let's start a new game. And there, just added as well, they've got female Kerbals now. That's Jebediah Kermin, the first female Kerbin in space. There's new training missions as well. What is there? A whole bunch of them. A bunch of scenarios as well. But we're going to start a new game. We're going to start a new career mode, which is the full proper way of playing Kerbal Space Program, and we're going to call it Locutus Collective. Let's choose our flag as well. We're going to leave the difficulty on normal. I've added a few flags, like the Canadian ones, obviously. So we're going to go with my usual Canadian flag option. And we'll start. Space Program, where some of you may have played years ago. You don't start with a particularly developed laboratory and everything here, and launch facility. You start with, well, garbage, basically. There's Gene Kermin telling us, yep, I'm the flight director. Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we'll get started on our first space mission. Let's have a look at R&D. We've got no science yet. Research and development. Astronauts complex. Spaceplane hangar. Launch building. Mission control. Across the launch pad. Let's get a mission control first of all and see what missions are available. Because missions are, you get science and money in Kerbal Space Program. So, goals we have. Launch our first vessel. All we have to do, launch a vessel off the launch pad. And we'll get some stuff for it. So yeah, let's accept that. And gather scientific data from Kerbin. Recover or transmit any science data from Kerbin. Again, easy peasy. And that's our maximum active contracts. We only get 2 allowed at the moment until we upgrade. We've got 50,000 credits at the moment. We can have a maximum of 18 tons of our spacecraft and a maximum of 20 meters. So, remember the sound there. Okay, it's back there. I don't know if that happened on the video as well, but the sound just went all screwy there. Engineers report. That's new. Some of this stuff is new, right? Okay. Werner von Kermin, Chief Rocketry Engineer. Got it. So let's design our first rocket. Now we could use... Oh no, it doesn't give you any pre-made ones anymore. Ah, I like it. Okay, so what do we got? We've got the Mark 1 command pod. It's not very good, but it's cheap. We've got no fuel tanks. We've got the Flea Solid Booster. Aerodynamics, utility, we've got a parachute, and we've got mystery goo. So you don't really get a lot of stuff to start with these days in Kerbal Space Program, it seems. So yeah, let's add a pod first of all. Let's add an engine unit, and then let's add a parachute. Out of curiosity, if I don't add a parachute, yep, it does say parachute missing. I like that. It gives you little legendary reports, gives you warnings like parachute is not on first stage. Unused monoprop resource. And it highlights where it is. So that's pretty cool. So we have nothing that uses the monopropellant, so we might as well get rid of it. That's pretty clever. I really like that little widget there. That's a really cool feature. Much, much useful. Okay, let's add these in. Let's turn on symmetry. And we'll add a couple of units of mystery goo. And that'll do, I think. So let's go launch the ship. To be... because I didn't actually tell it. It's Jebediah Kermin. And look at our glorious launch pad. It's a pit on the ground. Hi Jeb, enjoying yourself there? Let's have a look inside our ship. Doesn't look particularly safe to me. How do I get back outside? V. Oh. Auto. Okay, let's do some science. Observe mystery goo. Doesn't seem to be doing anything interesting, but it still gives me science. Crew report. I record the crew's assessment of the situation. Can we do an EVA? I can do an EVA. EVA report. B? Oh, they've changed it. B is board. So, throttle, full or zero. And there we go. Blimey. It's a lot shakier than it used to be. That was pretty cool. All these sort of records are getting set as well now. Oh, nice! We get stuff with her. Let's do a bit more science. Let's activate our parachute. I didn't turn on stability control. I suppose I probably should have. But yeah, that worked pretty well. Launch our first vessel achieved. Set an altitude of 3,500 achieved. And we've got to gather some scientific data. So yeah, this is how Kerbal Space Program works. Basically, you go on little missions, see what you can achieve, and as you get better at the game, you go further afield, explore space, go to other planets, go to moons. There's the moon. Looks suspiciously like a Death Star, if you ask me. And we're going to accelerate time a little bit here. Now, I don't know if they've fixed it, but in the beta versions of Kerbal Space Program, accelerating time could result in parachutes, things getting ripped off when they expand, because the parachutes open properly at 500 feet above the ground, so I'm going to slow it back down again. There we go. When we hit the ground, the parachute's really not going to cushion us enough, and the engine's probably going to fall off and the ship will half. But as long as it survives and the mystery goo is intact. There's Jeb still enjoying the ride. That's our first spaceship. Well, it's our first rocket. It's not really a spaceship because it didn't really get that high. But you have to start somewhere. Drift back down towards the ground. There's a flag waving in the breeze over there. Texas got a little bit screwy on the ground there. Is it actually flying my flag, or is it just flying? No, it's just the Kerbal Space Program flag. And it touches back down. And we're down in one piece. Tell you what, let's do another EVA. There's Jeb wandering around. Let's do an EVA report again. Don't think a spacesuit was really necessary to get here, was it? Well, no, but... And can we do anything else? No, we can't take soil samples. And the gravity's too high for our little jetpack to do anything. So, let's just recover the vessel. The spacecraft separately. EVA report from Launchpad. Recover a vessel that survived. Jebediah gained some XP. Good for him. We can also go back to the overview here and recover that spacecraft as well. And we should be able to get back pretty much all the funding as well, because yep, we got all the bits back. We got loads of money for that mission. Yeah, you can see here though, there's Kerbin, there's the moon, there's Minimus, the second moon of Kerbin. As we zoom out, we can see the rest of the Kerbin space system, star system. Elu, Jewel, Duna, Eve, Drez, and Moho. And of course Kerbin itself, or Kerbal. Right, let's get back to the Space Center there. And okay, we finished that mission as well. Got lots of money for the scientific data from Kerbin 1. So let's go to the Science Center and research some new parts. Now we can get Basic Rocketry or Engineering 101. Now, Basic Rocketry gives us better engines. We've got 36 science at the moment, so that's quite a bit. We've got enough for a basic fuel tank. And the first That'll generate electricity. And fuel tank for it. So yeah, let's research that. Engineering 101 gets us the Mark 1 cockpit, Science Junior, and a stack decoupler. We want that as well. Survivability gets us our first heat shield and radial parachutes and micro landing struts. I'm not sure what that does exactly, but we're going to research it anyway. Stability gets us aerodynamic nose cones, small nose cones, winglets, radial decouplers, better engines, better fuel tanks. We're going to need more science before we do anything else there, so let's have a look at the tech. Oh, blimey! The tech tree's got rather bigger than it used to. I approve. Let's go here and see if we can get anyone. Well, we've got Jeb, who's nearly at level 1. He's a pilot. I've got Bill Kermin, who is an engineer. We've got Boker, and we've got Valentina. We've got a whole bunch of Kerbals over there. Let's go back to our contracts then and see what else is available. Next goal, escape the atmosphere. Let's just take that one on because I don't think we're going to get into orbit straight up with the parts we've got. Let's go build a better rocket. We can get rid of those. We can get rid of that piece of garbage. And we're going to have a 2-stage rocket. Let's put... Do we have a part limit? We can have 30 parts maximum. Alright, thought we got decouplers. Yes, we did. So we want a decoupler on there. We then want... Oh, no. What we want is a heat shield, just in case. Because one of the things they finally added is heat effects. And they've added little cowlings as well that cover areas like that. Which is really cool. And we want fuel tanks. I think we actually probably want 3 fuel tanks. Yep, that should do it. And a liquid engine. We want another decoupler. And then we want some more fuel tanks. Engine, how's this doing? We're at 14 and 30 parts and we're at 7.5 tons out of our top possible, and I think we want some boosters. That's gonna have to do, I think, for now. Did we get the science bay ever? we did get the science bay. I think we actually want the science bay to come back with us, so we're going to put a science bay on there. And we're going to put a couple of radial parachutes on it, just to help the descent. We're going to put the heat shield back under there. What are we doing there? We're still okay. So the last thing we're going to do is add some of these little legs. Just to make it a bit easier for us to land in one piece. Hopefully. Maybe. We'll see. We shall see if this is good enough to get out of the atmosphere. You know, you can play this game a lot more scientifically than I'm doing it at the moment. You know, actually be very careful and make everything. And we also need to check the stack here. Missing ladder. I can live without a ladder. We're not planning to get back into the ship anyway, so we want the main engine to fire along with those boosters. And we want that engine to fire along with that decoupler. And we want all the parachutes to fire together. Yep, that's fine. Let's launch. Still going with null Kermin. Kerbal. Let's turn on stability control. Let's turn my thrust down a little bit. And here we go. It's tipping over a little bit. It's doing alright. Getting pretty fast. Fire the main engine, full power. See, without those horizontal separatrons, though, we can't lose the extra weight of those boosters. But the whole thing will come off in a second. And now we can start tipping over. Whoa, 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 whoa! Well, that wasn't quite what I had in mind. Don't think we're going to get to orbit quite then. Well, let's do some science anyway. Observe materials bay. Well, we got a bunch of science from it. Do we dare try an EVA? Ah, we can't do proper EVAs yet. Well, let's lose the engine. Deploy the landing struts. Actually, I don't think they're going to matter, because I think we're going to land in the water. Deploy the parachutes anyway, though. Stability control, yeah, that didn't work so well. They've added a bit more detail to this materials bay, I think. It's kinda cool. like it. Well, we're going to have to try again, but we'll have enough science to research something else before the next mission, which means we should be able to do a few more things. And of course, we set a new distance record and a new altitude record, and a few more things. Let's time accelerate a bit more. Coming back down. We shall hopefully have enough to get those horizontal separatrons so we can blow the boosters off. Now the gear isn't going to make any difference, but it might cushion our impact on the water slightly, I guess. Probably not. Shouldn't really. And down we come. We'll see if it'll let me do an EVA when I'm splashed down as well, and then I can get some data from the water. Science to be got all over the place in Kerbal Space Program, and you should grab it whenever you can. This is very exciting, obviously, watching me splash down here. Calm yourselves. Splashdown. Hey! Well, you know, our ship survived intact. Let's see if we can do an EVA. Let's do a crew report first. Yep, got a few more signs for that. EVA. And EVA. And then we'll recover the vessel. Recover the ship as well in a second. Got us a bit more science. And Jeb got some more XP. Oh, no XP he got for that one, but he got some more reputation. No, we didn't really do anything new, I guess. So. Got a few more. And you can see the ship over there. Recover it from here. Got a bunch more science from that though. And recovered 3,000 parts from the funds. The more you can recover the ship, the more money you get back as well, obviously, so... You know, all this discards way to do things, but... we got plenty of money at the moment. Let's check... yeah, we just need to still get to space and orbit Kerbin, so... let's modify our ship. No, let's exit there. I think the next things we want to do is the astronaut complex. We want to upgrade. Oh, blimey, it's expensive to upgrade that. What does it cost to upgrade the launch pad? We could do that, which lets us build bigger ships, much bigger ships. Max active contracts 2. Max parts 30. That's expensive. No, you know, I think we're okay for now with 18-ton rockets. Let's go to science and let's get... yeah, let's research this, which will give us radial decouplers, nose cones and stability fins. we have enough science for the next? Yep, we've got enough science for this as well. So let's get that. Because that'll get us better engines. So let's steer a bit more. So what we're going to do here... I don't think we actually need the landing strut, so let's get rid of them. We still want the parachutes, I think. What we want to do is decouple that lot. Get rid of those, because we can use the bigger fuel tanks now. 2 of those should be enough. Max thrust 200. But that lets us steer. Yeah, we're going to go with that. So we don't need that anymore. In fact, let's get rid of all that. Let's put another decoupler on there now. And then we'll add 3 more fuel tanks. And a mainline engine. And then we will add some radial decouplers, 3 of them. And then we will add some big boosters, because we can. Because aerodynamics is now a thing in Kerbal Space Program, we'll put some nose cones on these. Although I think we might have exceeded our... Yep, our launch weight is way overboard there. So, yeah, maybe not the big boosters. Let's go back to the little boosters. We get away with that? Nope, we're still too heavy. Let's get rid of that. We don't really need the science experiment this time around anyway. With 2 extra parachutes. Still over mass. Because that's not going to cut it, obviously. That's pretty cool. This is all new as well. You can just do, yeah, I like that. We're going to upgrade that. We'll now support up to 140 tons. So, that being said... Hey, where the hell's my... put our science experiment back on then. And let's get rid of these crappy little things. Let's move these a bit higher up. And then let's have the big ones. That's slightly off-center still. They're a little fiddly sometimes, these big rockets, getting them actually to stick on in the right place. Yeah, that should do it. These... Yep, that should make the rocket stand up nicely as well. Okay. Let's put the nose cones back on. Let's take that off. Let's put a little nose cone on this thing here. Nope, that looks stupid. We're going with the old style parachute. Love the two side chutes as usual. Now, one parachute is more than enough for this now. Oh no, because we put the big things on, but yeah, now we do need them. And we'll put the nose cones back on there. And let's have some stability fins just to make it a little more stable. Okay. Let's put this bad boy to the test. Main engines fire at that level. They then separate. That then fires. That separates and that fires. And lastly, that Sepratron blows. Then they go. Yep. Okay, I think we are good to test this. Let's go to the launch pad. Our much shinier launch pad now. Okay then. Shall we go to space then? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoosh! Oh, stability control. There goes Jeb. On his way up. So throttling up, ready to fire the next stage. Starting to heat up. There goes the engine. Still accelerating. Start tipping over slightly. Start nudging ourselves towards orbit. Not very quickly, we've only got a tiny little reaction wheel in the cockpit to do it. And no thrust vectoring on this one. Next stage. A lot more control now we've got a vectored engine. Start heading towards orbit. We're going to make it to space. You can see the stars. Not bad, Jeb, not bad. We're going to get out to... Whoa! You know what? This wasn't a very well designed mission. We will fire the engines. Alright, now we're here though. We will do... Observe material skews. Lots of science, because we're now in space. do crew report. We are very much in space right now. Jebediah, contract, set distance record, 39 kilometers. Distance record, more distance records. Altitude of 70k. And we've got out of the atmosphere. And Jeb's the first Kermin in space. Kerbal in space. I think Kermin. Well, he is a Kermin, I guess. Might as well start turning around, actually, and slowing ourselves down, because staying up here for longer isn't going to help us. That's the rest of our fuel gone. We'll spin around again just to face our periapsis. Apoapsis, even. And then we will separate the next stage. And now we will get to put the heat shield to the test for the first time. This is a new one for me, folks, because in the old Kerbal Space Program, heat was not a factor. Oh! Oh dear. That's a point. Heat was not a factor in the older Kerbal Space Program. That's a rather steep re-entry vector. Let's time accelerate forward a bit. This could be a problem. This might be Jeb's last mission. Have I killed him? So yeah, just to give you guys a little background, for those of you who are wondering what I'm on about now, up until this release of Kerbal Space Program, unless you added mods and stuff to specifically add it to the game, and I never really messed around with mods much in Kerbal Space Program, heat was never a thing. It is now. Oh dear. Docking here. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This could be very bad indeed. We're going to hit the atmosphere in a second. The atmosphere in Kerbal Space Program, the atmosphere of Kerbal is at 70,000 kilometers, so 70 kilometers. And you'll tell because the music will stop. And here we go. We are re-entering the atmosphere at 2,000 meters per second, and we are accelerating. Now we're in the upper atmosphere at the moment, so we're not going to be slowing down much, but neither are we going to. I'm going to make sure I'm going to turn on stability control here and try and keep my tail pointed squarely at my re-entry vector. The re-entry heat shield is glowing pretty heavily there. Oh dear! That went well. I guess we better go back to the launch center here. Yeah. Hi there, Jebediah Kermin. You want to join the Kerbal Space Program? Yeah. Much glory and nothing bad ever happened to the last guy. You know, actually, we don't need another guy. We've got a pilot already. We've got Valentina. She has lots of courage and lots of stupidity. Which is good. Because, let's try without the science pod, because I'm not convinced that was a good idea. I think the heat shield should just go straight on there like that. We don't need those either. I think that'll do. Let's exit that. Save that. And then exit. Let's go to missions as well, see if there's anything. Oh, we've got new stuff. Not doing that. Not doing that. Well, we'll take on the orbit one and see if we can do that. This will be our last flight for this video, and then we'll call it a day, I think. Let's go in here and see who we're going to have. We're going to get Valentina up, I think, because I want a good pilot. Don't worry, Valentina, this ship is completely safe. Nothing bad happened to your predecessor. Nope, nothing at all. He went to live on a farm. He definitely didn't explode. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So yeah. Too late to get out now, you're going to space. Bye! I'll say the rocket fuel effects are really cool now. We're actually going to start this thing pitching over now, I think. Go, Valentina. She's a pretty good pilot, this one. Next stage. Cut your engines. Because I think we're going to clear the atmosphere now. Yep, when we get to apoapsis, then we'll try thrusting up again. See if we can get you into a stable orbit. Okay. See our orbit expanding now as we thrust forward at Apoapsis. How are we doing for fuel? Loads of fuel. Might make it into orbit. We need to just get into orbit. Because we need enough fuel to come out of orbit, obviously. We are in a stable orbit. And there's our ship, orbiting Kermin safely. And doesn't she look happy about it? Oh look, there's a bit of Jebediah floating past. Let's do a crew report. Because we never recovered that previous crew report. Don't know why. Must have taken it with him to the farm, I guess. Yep. Okay, so we're going to go for a little bit of an orbit. There must be something for a complete orbit of the planet. So as long as both sides of your orbit are above 70 kilometers, you're stable. Because I can stay up here forever now. But we're not going to. Because what we're going to do is at Apoapsis, we're going to turn the ship around and start decelerating. Let's turn down time acceleration as well. Spin around. Point directly at Apoapsis. You can see I brought the navball up here, which allows me to control my ship while I'm looking at the map screen. I can come out of the map screen with the M key, and then you can actually see the ship, obviously. This isn't meant to be a tutorial for Kerbal Space Program, by the way. For one thing, I'm not actually that good at the game, and I'm still learning all the new components myself. And secondly, if you are interested in the game and you want to know how to play it well, and want to see a real master at the game at work as well, check out videos by a guy called Scott Manley. He does fantastic videos on Kerbal Space Program, and I take my hat off to the guy. And he's also a lot more entertaining than me as well, and just his channel's awesome. You should definitely check him out. Okay. We're going to wait till we get there, because that's at the Apoapsis. This is where you get the maximum effect from your engines. And I want to lower my, so it's within the atmosphere, but I've hardly got any fuel left, as you can see. So I need to make it count. Now I think, to be honest, firing the Separatrons will probably slow me down enough, but I'm not sure I've got enough electric charge as well, actually, because if you haven't got enough electric charge to activate things, then the parachutes won't open. Okay, that should do it. And that was more than enough. You see my periapsis there, just in that little brief bit of thrust there, dropped to 27 kilometers, which is well within the atmosphere. This will be a much shallower descent this time, so we should slow down a lot more gradually as well. And hopefully it won't explode, which would be nice. And we're going to go back to the staging view. And we're going to fire off that as well. Now that will have some impact on our speed, because you will notice we're now 25. It's not much, but it's enough. Because I say, I mean, that alone would have probably dropped us below, from 70 down to. That'll splash down as well, but it'll splash down a bit further up, because that's going off a bit faster. Because physics. Now, the aerodynamics of the pod should be such that it will drop arse forwards into the on its own devices. Oh, you can't actually control the ship while you're in this view as well, so I'm going to make sure we're lined up there. And turn off stability control, and hopefully the ship should fall on its own with our pod there, without the materials bay messing things up and killing us this time, hopefully. Because it's interesting now with all these modifications to the pods and things like that. Kerbal Space Program is a whole different kettle of fish now, trying to do stuff. I mean, I'm going to have to learn to get EVA reports in space and pack them into the because really dropping things down that aren't the capsule designed to land, now the aerodynamics have changed, is a whole trickier game entirely. And just the fact that you've got heat as well, such a big deal. Still drifting round. We're actually still accelerating at the moment, which is slightly worrying. But the ship is naturally sort of falling towards pointing tail first into the atmosphere, which is what I wanted. Because, yeah, the nose cones, the capsules are designed to aerodynamically fall bottom forwards, as are the heat shields, so we should be okay here. I'm not sure how I can view the temperature. Can you view the temperature of stuff? Ablator. Ablator is presumably the amount of it that gets burned away. Let's make sure we pilot the ship a little bit to try and keep the tail pointing down. Ship is still accelerating. I mean, it is presumably going to keep accelerating until we start hitting the point where the atmosphere, because we are falling, obviously. I'm going to keep stability control on, because the ship is tumbling a little bit. I want to make sure that we keep the right face. Oh, that's what that is. It's my mouse reflecting off the screen there. As we start to get into the deeper atmosphere, you'll find the ship will gradually actually start, the effects of drag will start countering out the effects of gravity. And the ship will start to reach terminal velocity. You see, it's actually dropping speed now. Maybe Valentino will survive. If you look at the orbit map, you'll see, obviously, that, it's still an orbit. But the thing is, with the effect of drag, that's dropping all the time. And that is going to, that's not going to get around to the other side of that'll be down to 0 by the time, because we're slowing down all the time here now that, oh, here we go. Here comes the re-entry heat. Let's turn off SAS. See if it will be stable enough on its own. The answer is no, it will not. Now it will. The ablator is actually starting to work now. The heat shield, you see, starting to glow and do its thing. And it is burning up. But it's keeping the cabin nice and survivable. It's glowing white hot now. Oh, this is cool. This is the one thing this game was missing. That excitement of re-entry. That was always so dramatic in the space program. Watching the old archive footage. Obviously it was before my time. The glory days of space travel. I'm keeping stability control on because it helps keep the ship pointed the right way, and I don't want to so we're getting into the lower atmosphere now. Heat shield's really starting to work. The ship is slowing down as well. So if I were to turn stability control off now, nope, that would be bad. The ship will start to tumble. So you definitely need to keep stability control on when you're falling, and keep a bit of control through re-entry. Make sure you keep the ship pointing down. And yep, we only burned half the heat shield. And we've slowed down to the point where it's safe now. And now that it's cooled down enough, we can deploy the parachutes. And the ship will start to slow down a lot, obviously. And now we can turn off stability control and let the parachute do its work. Obviously, deploying the parachute higher out, the parachute will burn up very easily. So, Valentina Kermin becomes the second Kerbal in space, and the first one to come back alive. The first one to come back and not immediately retire to a mysterious farm never to be seen from again. Yep. Parachute should deploy fully now. Oh, they fixed that. The parachute doesn't rip off at time acceleration now, so we can actually use time acceleration. I notice there's no trees or anything still. I wonder if I can turn ground scatter on. There we go. She can get out. I'll let go. EVA report. Take data. Get back in. And crew report while on the ground. And recover the vessel. So yeah, there you have it. Unless you tumble out of control, in which case your lovely new spaceship and Jebediah Kermin explode. Oh dear. I don't know if I'm going to do series on Kerbal Space Program. I do love the game. I play it a lot and very much enjoy it. But it's the sort of game that doesn't really make for that exciting viewing generally, and if you're into it, you're going to be into it. If you're not, you're just not. I might do some videos later on once I've got unlocked some more parts and do something particularly exciting. Anyway, but she's gained a lot of reputation. And a skill. And we've actually got enough, I think, to... Science. Proper control winglets. We don't have enough for them yet. These are all quite expensive. Let's do a few more missions first. All these VIP nonsense. Well, maybe we'll try that some other time. But for now, guys, that was Kerbal Space Program at its very, very basic and worst. So I hope you enjoyed that. The game is, as I say, now out on Steam, and it's so worth it if you have any interest in space flight and, you know, the history of the space program. It's just a fun game, and it's interesting, and it's educational. So, you know, if you've got kids or anything, you know, you want to teach them a bit about science, you can do a lot worse than picking up a copy of this. So I've been Locutus. I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed the video, click like. If you want to see more, click subscribe and do comment. And like I said, if you want to learn how to play the game for real, not by my terrible example, check out Scott Manley on YouTube, and his videos are far better than mine, just in general, but his Kerbal Space Program stuff in particular is how I learned to play the game in the first place. And that's not a great testimonial, given what just happened to Jebediah, obviously, but they're good. Have a watch of them, especially his tutorial videos are a very good way to learn the game. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Cheers!